Hey everybody, it's Benny One, and I'm back at you with another TV series review. I'm just going to start reviewing the series as a whole. I'm not going to do episode by episode anymore. I just think it's going to be a little easier to talk about the TV show as a whole when it's over with, everybody. So we're talking about the book of Boba Fett, everybody. Or, honest to me, I would say that this, honestly, after watching the whole season, which I finished it yesterday. It's kind of like The Mandalorian season 2.5, to tell you the truth. Which I'm totally okay with. Totally okay with. I don't care at all because I'm super jacked for season 3 of The Mandalorian now after the stuff that happened in this season of Boba Fett. And who knows if we're going to get another season of the Book of Boba Fett. And if we don't, oh well, it was really good. I thought it was entertaining. So I might get a little rambly, get off course here, but this is totally going to be filled with spoilers galore. I'm going to talk about all sorts of major things, characters, story, plots, all that type of stuff that happened in the 7 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, everybody. So this show was teased at the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian, everybody, where he went to Jabba's palace and he took the throne. He became the kaiju, that Jabba was for a lot of years. So he basically went and took over where he was serving, as an assassin. So, and this opens up showing us how he got out of the Sarlacc pit, which I absolutely love that we got to see that. I love that they started this show out that way and showed us how he got out, what happened to his armor and everything, like what happened to him and how did he look the way that he did when we saw him in season 2 of Mandalorian and the years that passed. They explain all this. They just don't be like, oh, somehow he survived. They actually explain it. So I really appreciated that. It was cool seeing him in the classic Boba Fett look from Empire Strikes Back and A New Hope. He wasn't in it very long, of course, but so yes, I enjoyed that. And I also, one of the things that I really loved about this show was that when he was in his Banta tank and they were doing flashback scenes of him with some tribe of sand people when he was in the tank healing. Like, they would do flashback scenes. I love TV shows that do this. Like Arrow from the Arrowverse, that created the Arrowverse about Green Arrow. That show was at its best in the first 5 seasons when they were doing the flashback sequences along with what's going on in current times. I think it's good storytelling to do these little flashback scenes that only eat up about 5 or 10 minutes of your show, and then you focus on the current times. I just think it's a great formula for a TV show. I really do. So we do get to see Boba actually, how he was rescued and helped and how he got to the point that we met him in season 2 of The Mandalorian. We got to see the events leading up to him rescuing Fennec Shand in The Mandalorian. And that's something that's really cool, is there's stuff that was left unanswered from The Mandalorian stuff that we got answers for in this with Boba Fett, which I absolutely love. They show how he gets his ship, Slave One. I don't care what Disney did. The ship is called Slave One. It does not mean it's marketing slavery. My God, people. It's still Slave One to me, and it will always be Slave One to me. It doesn't mean he's got slaves on the ship. For God's sakes. It really bothers me that the world is so sensitive to everything nowadays. It's just silly to me. Sorry. I had to get that out of the way. But yeah, that's what I loved about this show, is we got a lot of answers with Boba that were unanswered from him being reintroduced and re-injected into the Star Wars universe. So I just thought it was really cool. And then in the current times with Boba, because the first 4 episodes solely focus on Boba. And then the last 3 episodes, episode 5, 6, and 7, were what I'm saying this show feels like it was The Mandalorian 2.5. The first 4 episodes were all about Book of Boba Fett, and then the other 3, we basically had another chunk of Mandalorian, which is fine. It's totally cool. But in the current time where the show takes place, we get to see Mando. Woo! There's an ant on me. Good Lord. We get to see Mando. Not Mando. We get to see Boba. My God, I apologize. We get to see Boba, meeting with the houses that Jabba had as this leader, the kaiju, in this part of Tatooine. And he's telling them, I'm the new kaiju of this area, and I'm in charge. I'm taking over for Jabba. And he's like, I'm going to run things differently. And he's trying to convince everybody that he's this new leader. And he doesn't want to lead with fear. He basically wants to lead with respect and all this stuff. And it's just him and Fennec Shand for most definitely the first episode. And then he starts kind of recruiting people that live in the town. And he starts kind of getting some recruits. And then what happens is Jabba's cousins show up, and they are trying to lay claim to his empire because they're family. And Boba flat out tells them, you know what? I killed the homeboy, I can't remember his name, with the freaking snake hair dreadlock thing around his neck, and he got all fat because he took over for Jabba. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry. I'm a huge Star Wars fan too, so I should be ashamed of myself. But he kills him. He's like, I took the damn throne. It's mine. So you're going to have to kill me if you want it. And then we get another character. This show is so packed with Star Wars characters. And a lot of them, a few of them we have not seen in live action yet, which is badass. And one of them, holy shit, people, I about fell over when he came on the screen, but we will get to him. Chrysanthemum. He's a Wookiee. He's an assassin, and he is he's being paid right now by Jabba's cousins, and him and Boba have a fight. Whew, he almost kills Boba, for God's sakes. But then he eventually ends up working with Boba, because the cousins totally leave. Because here, the big gist of the show is that the Pike Syndicate is trying to run spice through Tatooine and through Boba's town and city that he's in charge of and oversees. And the houses that are under him that are supposed to be loyal to him are actually going behind him and working with this Pike Syndicate and trying to get rid of him, which you find out towards the end of the show. And yeah, so it all starts falling apart. But it's this Pike Syndicate that really pisses Boba off, because when Boba, the flashback scenes, Boba is actually being cared for by these tribe of sand people, and they show him training him how to fight. He gets the respect of these sand people. He gets to wear their garments, their not armor or whatever, but it's just they're black. They're not brown, and they even make him a freaking weapon and everything that the sand people have. He totally becomes a part of this tribe. And that's one thing I've loved about The Mandalorian and this show, is that they have really explored these just very small side characters that were in the movies that really didn't mean anything or weren't anything special. They were just there for a quick little minute, but they're exploring this stuff and giving them so much more depth. The sand people remind me kind of like Native American did, the different tribes and stuff like that. I just think it's really cool that they're doing this and exploring this stuff in the Star Wars universe. I just think it's really cool, and that they can do it in these TV shows. So, but the Pike Syndicate end up murdering and killing this tribe that took him in and accepted him. Not good. So Boba obviously has it out for them. So, some other characters we get to see in the show. We get to see Cobb Vanth once again, everybody that was in the second season of Mandalorian that had Boba's armor at the time. Great. And there's an end credit scene that involves him. I'm not going to say why. I'll keep that a little surprise for you, but that was awesome. Mando, of course, everybody. Episode 5 literally was all about Mando. Like, it was all about him and where he was after season 2 of Mandalorian. Like, it was completely his episode. And that's where, like, the Mandalorian side of this totally took this show over in episode 5 and 6. And then parts of episode 7. But yeah, so he's in it. We get to freaking see Ahsoka again. She doesn't really do too much, but her and Mando have a conversation about Grogu, of course, because Mando goes to see Grogu because he had something made from his Mandalorian people. He had that weapon melted down that Ahsoka gave him and had some armor made that looks very resembling to something out of Lord of the Rings that Frodo gets from Bilbo. It's really cool, actually. But yeah, so he goes to where Luke is setting up his first Jedi Academy and everything, and Grogu is going to be his first student. We get to see the Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker again, which the CG looked awesome in this. They did a fantastic job with it. And they show Luke actually training Grogu and like Grogu learning how to use the Force and all this stuff. It was really, really cool. And Mark Hamill came back to do the voice part of it again. Like, the fact that they have the technology to do this kind of stuff with actors that are way too old to be playing these characters anymore, so they can get somebody that resembles them, and then they can CGI the face on. The de-aging face technology is just, it's off the chains anymore. It's just so cool. We're finally getting to see the Luke Skywalker that we've all been wanting to see. Like, seriously. Like, it's so badass. It's so badass. Even though Sebastian Stan, that plays Bucky, you know, the Winter Soldier, he could play a young Luke Skywalker. He could. He looks a lot like him. And with the bright hair and everything, I really think he could play a young Luke Skywalker. But it was just so cool to see them. And Grogu has to make a decision. Luke basically tells him after Mando delivers the armor, and Mando leaves because Ahsoka convinces him, you know, I will give it to him because you're just going to cause him more heartache and pain and interrupt his training if you go give it to him. Because you guys, he needs to let go of attachment because he's becoming a Jedi. So Luke gives Grogu a choice. You can either have the armor that Mando gave him, or he literally offered him Yoda's lightsaber, everybody. So Luke somehow got a hold of Yoda's lightsaber. Don't know how, because we all know what happened to that at the end of episode 3. So yeah, he made a choice. They didn't show him making the choice, but he goes back to Mando. And right in the middle of this big fight on Tatooine with Boba and everybody. So it's crazy, people. The freaking last episode of this show, the big showdown between the Pike Syndicate and Boba and Mando and Cobb Vanth, his like little town gets a bunch of people to come and help Boba. It's just, and then you have Chrysanthemum helping. It was so cool. It was just badass. The whole freaking 7th episode was fantastic. It was easily probably, I would say it's probably the best episode of the show. It was great because the first 4 episodes, I'd say the first episode was pretty damn good, and then there were kind of some. It was okay. I wouldn't say it was at the level of The Mandalorian, but it was close, but not quite. But once they interjected the Mandalorian stuff in the show, it did get better. I'm not gonna lie, it did get better. And in episode 6, you guys ready for this shit? Cad Bane, everybody. We got a live action version of one of the most badass bounty hunters in the Star Wars universe that was in the Clone Wars, Rebels. Oh my god, and he looked cool. He didn't look exactly like the animated version, but you can't totally translate the animated version to a live action screen. It was fantastic, people. It was so cool to see Cad Bane and Boba going at it because they have history from when Boba was younger in the Clone Wars. It was awesome to see. I love that we're getting these live action versions of these characters like Ahsoka, Cad Bane, Chrysanthemum. Like, it's just so cool to be a Star Wars fan right now. And the TV side of the Star Wars universe is where they're nailing it now. Like, they're struggling with the movies, but Disney is doing a fantastic job with these shows. And I'm so jacked for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, Andor. I'm just super pumped for all this stuff that they have coming out. I'm really excited. It's great. And the Book of Boba Fett, like I said, whether we get another season or not, it was great. A great addition to this little corner of the universe that they're totally exploring, that we all want them to explore. Like, I think it would be badass if we could get a freaking Luke Skywalker show showing him getting the Jedi Academy going. It would be so cool, but it would probably take a lot of effort, time, and money to make him look young. So, but yeah, the Book of Boba Fett, guys, I think overall, I'm going to give it like an 8 out of 10. Like I said, episode 2, 3, and 4, they were kind of clunky, and I was just kind of not sure. I was just like, do we really, I mean, part of me was like, do we totally need him to have his own show, I guess? And that's kind of the feeling I was having as I was watching it. But then once episode 5 hit, holy crap, that just changed everything. I was like, well, god dang, I didn't even realize they were doing this shit. So yeah, guys, I'm going to give Book of Boba Fett an 8 out of 10, everybody. Totally recommend it. And if you're going to watch season 3 of The Mandalorian, you have to watch this show. You have to. Because there's stuff that was answered, brought up, and even left questioning now because of this show. So you have to watch it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this ranty, ravey, all over the place review of the Book of Boba Fett. Thank you for watching, and I'll be catching you on the tube later because I have spoken.